Number one, in Kenya, we do not have a state religion. So you actually can't have religious parties. You can't. There's no state religion, so everything is supposed to be non-religious. However, when you talk about Christian, because I myself, I'm born again, and I believe that the biblical principles as given to us by Yahweh are for everybody, okay? They are for everybody, and we are supposed to manifest them in everything that we do. So regardless of what party I am in, my principles should not change as a born-again believer. We must remember the systems of the world are in the hands of the wicked. This is something that we must remember. This world is negatively charged, and you are going to be hard-pressed to find a righteous government. It does not exist. Even in Israel, it's not a righteous government, yet that is the Holy Land, but there's very little holy about it, okay? I mean, and we need to understand holiness in terms of, being set apart. But what I'm trying to say is, as Christians, we must come out of the mindset of establishing theocracies or establishing government that is ruled on biblical standards. It's not going to happen, okay? There is no place for that. Our constitution does not allow it, but even in the world, it's not going to happen. The time we will have a truly righteous government is during the millennial reign of Yeshua Messiah, where he will establish a righteous government, and he will put down rebellion with an iron fist. This is what the scriptures tell us. Now, and so what then? I want to borrow from examples that we have in the scriptures. One man in particular, a man called Daniel. Daniel was a captive to Babylon, okay? But he believed in Yahweh completely. They refused to be compromised. Him, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They refused to be compromised. And the Bible tells us that they were young lads. So they were like around 17 there when they went into captivity. And they were of the stock of the royal household, okay? But they knew Yahweh. They knew their God, okay? And so when the king now was like, find me the bright people who were going to teach the Babylonian way so that they can administer the state. They said, us guys, we're not going to eat from the king's table. We don't want to eat defiled food. So they were like, you give us this. And Yahweh was faithful to them. They went on to become administrators in the Babylonian government. And Daniel particularly stood out. And the Babylonians, if you read about the Babylonians, they were cruel and evil. Okay? They really were. I mean, there are people who would even commit suicide upon hearing that the Babylonians were coming to invade their people because of how cruel they were, But Daniel rose within this administration. He became known as a man of skill and integrity, to the extent that now people started chochering. They were like, apana, this Daniel asitulete. And they went and incited the king because they knew, since he could not be caught in a fault, then they would have to catch him in his righteousness. Okay? So the thing was, let's say you are not allowed to make any supplications or prayers to anybody except the king for the next 1 month. Knowing Daniel prays 3 times a day. And of course, Daniel continued. And not only that, he didn't even hide. So of course, he was found, he has broken the law. But it was a law that was unrighteous. And even the king himself, the Bible tells us the king didn't sleep that night because he understood that he had a responsibility to the rule of law. And he also saw that now these guys, they had tricked him. But he had to follow through and put Daniel in the lion's den. And he couldn't sleep that night because he knew Daniel was a good man, he was an upright man. And of course, we know how it went. And when Daniel came out, he threw those guys into the den. But Daniel's righteousness, his principles, he never compromised at any one point, even to the point of death. Same thing with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. when they were told to bow down for the image. They said, we will not bow. They were like, king, we are not even careful to answer you in this matter. Yahweh whom we serve is able to deliver us from you. But even if he does not, we will not bow. Fanya vile utafanya. And he was like, what? What? He was outraged. 7 times hotter. The furnace was heated. As in, that is now your tribulations zinawaka moto. You know? And they were thrown in. We are told even the people who threw them in died just from the heat that came out. They were not even singed. Their hairs were not even singed. Their clothes did not smell of smoke. What was the end result of Daniel and Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego? The king himself declared that the God whom these guys serve is the true and the one who should be worshipped. Their testimony, one among the evil. Daniel was made the head of all magicians. Meaning even those wicked ones, he became the head of them because they were like, this one, he understands these dark sayings. He understands those things. Because those kings, those days, they used to use witchcraft and astrology to read the signs and the times. Daniel was now made the head of those people. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego got the king to declare that only Yahweh was to be worshipped. And nobody was to say anything against their God. Because they stood on principle. Now that is the thing. So we want Christians to get into the system. Yes, we say politics is dirty. Don't go in there and become dirty. Go in there and become a testimony of those people who show forth the righteousness of their faith. The things they believe. You are not to be heard in corruption. You are not to be heard in sexual immorality. You are not, if we are looking for righteous people, it is the Christians who must be named as the righteous. But is that what we're seeing? We hear declarations, Bwana sifiwe, nini nini, coming from people who it is tantamount to blasphemy when they say that. And Christians will say, oh, that is a man of God. He's not. He's not. And if you say they are not, oh, who are you to judge? The Bible tells us, by their fruit they shall be known. We are called to be fruit inspectors. Kusema, hii matunda ni mbaya. Hii matunda ni mbaya. So, when we talk about righteousness, like now I've seen there's the Eagles Alliance of colored men and women saying that the time for the church has come. Where are their voices concerning the plight of Kenyans right now? Right now we have millions of Kenyans facing starvations. How are they organizing this? They should be telling us that as they organize to go and alleviate the hunger that people are needing. What are they saying about the corruption in the land? What are they saying and what are they doing? What are they doing to demonstrate? Where are they? We are not hearing them. Instead, they are following after characters who, for all intents and purposes, by their fruit, we do not see the fruit of righteousness there. So forget about establishing righteous government. You yourself, can you go and be the one who is righteous in there? Can you go and be the one who declares this law should not pass because it is rebellion against Yahweh? Why do we want to pass laws where we want to kill innocent children in the womb, unborn babies? Why do you want us to pass these laws? You know, a lot of this is being done by outside people. You remember when there was a push against the law on abortion? Inside Parliament, women declaring that they are born-again believers were saying why we need to pass an abortion law. And the church was silent because they need to say that one. If that is your member kwanza, you need to call them and have a word with them. But also to declare and kuwashtumu vikali. Although I know that there's the women of Kenya, the righteous women of Kenya, the praying women of Kenya, they were instrumental in that, in being able to mobilize people around that. But what I'm saying is, let's not be like the Israelites who were committed the oracles of Yahweh. They were the one people group on the face of the earth who were living in expectation of the Messiah. But when the Messiah came, they did not recognize the time of their visitation. because they believed that the Messiah was coming to overthrow Rome and set up the kingdom of Israel. And there, where Yahweh was there talking, they were like, oh, who is this? Yeshua was talking, who is this guy? And they said, crucify him. They did not understand. When we need to understand, righteous government will come with Yeshua, but we have a responsibility to live righteously and to ensure that righteousness is manifested in the work that we do. I would say that we can set up a political party with those ideals and begin now to organize. For instance, Diana, we can have a political party. We call it Party A. And we say, we're going to back you, Diana. Okay? And we use all our networks to support you. We say, Diana is our candidate for MCA. Daisy is our candidate for this seat, so and so. And we organize around that. Okay? Because for now, as we speak, many of the political parties that we're in, that are there, are personal entities. They are not independent thinking, yes. So it is very difficult to make a change. Yeah? You go in there, you start talking, you'll be expelled from the party. So we are better off starting our thing. Even Yeshua, when he came, he didn't go to the Pharisees and the Sadducees to Nini. He established his own. He got the fishermen, come follow me, he said now. Taught them and sent them out. A new breed. So let's build a party of a new breed of Kenyan leaders and organize, have a growth plan. We say, okay, maybe it's too late now for 2022. Maybe not. I mean, if there's anybody listening right now and you feel that you want to be an aspirant, you can zero, but you still have a chance of being an independent. And you also still have a chance as Focus to organize your various chapters to vote for that independent candidate or those independent candidates. That's a place to start. But let's start now planning for 2027. If it means setting up a political party, don't look at a political party in terms of, hey, we are going to form a Christian party. What kind of ideologies would you want to see in a political party? So set up your political party to espouse those ideals. Find out what does it take to to register a political party, to grow a political party, and begin the work now. Use your network. So by the time 2027 is coming round, you've got your list. You can agree for 2027, maybe we want to take over 2 counties. Governor, senator, MCAs. To say 2 counties. And then you work now in those counties to build your membership base, to popularize your candidates, understand how you are going to flip your seat, those seats that are being held, because all seats are held right now. So how are you going to flip those seats? Begin the plan now. Okay? And then have, for 2032, we will take over 5. A good political party to study is EFF, the Economic Freedom Fighters of South Africa, Julius Malema's party. Remember, he used to be a youth leader in ANC. They kicked him out. He started the Economic Freedom Fighters. They have a good system which allows, you can go in, because it's proportional representation. So representation based on the number of votes cast for a party. So Bora 2 votes have been cast for your party and you reach the minimum threshold, you'll get members of parliament, you'll get members in the different state assemblies, you know. And that's the thing. So the other thing is we can advocate for a change in the electoral system that allows us to feed the pipeline of leadership so that we begin to flip more and more. You understand? So it's a conversation that we need to have. It's a conversation Christians need to have. But we must be sincere, because I think that before we even start talking about Christian leaders, we need to go back to understanding what exactly is this Christian faith that we're talking about. Because they say Kenya is 80% Christian. Where are they? Who is doing all this corruption? Who is doing all this immorality? Who is voting for all these wicked people? And yet, you know, even in Deuteronomy, I think it's Deuteronomy 17, Yahweh is speaking to the children of Israel when he was telling them about choosing a king. And he said, when you come to choose a king, don't choose anybody who is not from among your brethren. So even when we say not among your brethren, don't choose wicked people. Because here we are trying to plead with the wicked to do righteous things. They can't. It's not in their nature. They are destroying institutions. Let's also have an advocacy strategy as Christians to ensure that institutions are strengthened, because while we cannot guarantee that we won't have wicked people in governance, we can ensure that we have strong enough institutions that work towards ensuring that the wicked do the right thing because of the consequences of doing the wrong thing. If these guys knew that with all the corruption they do, they'll go to jail, we'll see less corruption. But now when EACC is captured, when our courts are not functioning properly, when our courts are constantly under threat, when our DPP is also, the institutions of governance, the Commission on Administration of Justice, they are partisan, they are weak. It's very difficult to get people to do the right thing. So it's a multi-pronged approach. There is no easy answer, but we can still start now.